Hi, welcome to Wellness. I am your host, Linda Lonergan, Senior Clinical Nutritionist, MS-RDN. I've been in practice for 21 years. I've worked with all diets. I'm a published author in publications, newspapers, and magazines, and I've done workshops throughout Northern Westchester. I'm here to show you the very best your community has to offer in health, fitness, and well-being. Today I am joined by the lovely Melani Sessa, who is a mind-gut wellness advocate, as well as she is a professor at the College of Westchester with an MBA in international business. Welcome, Melani.
Thank you, Linda. Well, thank you so much for having me.
Oh, it's my pleasure to have you here. So, mind-gut wellness advocate.
Yes.
How did that come about from international business?
Yes, so that's a great question. And so as you said in your introduction, I have an MBA in international business and a bachelor's in Spanish, which doesn't sound like the path one would take to become a mind-gut wellness advocate. Two significant events happened in my life. I was in corporate marketing for a very long time. After I had children, I stayed home and always did some things to keep my mind going. In 2002, however, someone very, very dear to us passed away from cancer, and this person left 2 toddlers behind, which just broke our hearts. And I set out on a journey to find out about health, about wellness. And you know what I found out, Linda, after reading and watching movies? You know what I found out? That everything that we do to our bodies, what we do put inside, what we expose our bodies to, our exercise, affects our health. Pretty basic, but very mind-blowing to me at that time in my life. And then another event happened about 10 years ago where another person very dear to me succumbed to dementia. And so that is a mental wellness issue that is just progressively devastating. And that took me down the path of health and wellness, but in the area of mental wellness. And so those 2 events really are what put me on the path to be where I am today.
And I know you shared with me in terms of statistics that it doesn't affect just one group. Can you share with me the different groups it affects?
So mental wellness, when we think of mental wellness, we might just think of things like dementia, but mental wellness is actually something that affects different areas. Things like ADHD, autism, fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue, stress, anxiety, depression. All of these things are considered mental wellness, and we all know someone who struggles with that if we don't struggle with that ourselves.
Very much so. They do. What are some helpful tips in terms of this mind-gut connection improving on our gut?
Well, I want to emphasize that the situation, before I go into that, the situation in our country and in the world is pretty dire as far as mental wellness issues. I provided a graphic that shows that, first of all, that stress is the #1 health epidemic of the 21st century. Now, stress is something that affects everyone, but what happens inside our body when we experience stress is eventually catastrophic. And so that's one of the things that I want to emphasize.
And other statistics you shared in terms of the mind-gut connection, that there are different words, and there are 3 very important words when we're dealing with working with the gut and trying to improve ourselves.
Yes, so the way that we can help to improve our gut is by actually intervening in a healthy way. There's many ways that we can look at health, physical health, emotional health, spiritual health. I focus in my work on physical health. And the way that we optimize the gut is through intervention with food and also supplementation. So those 3 areas of food and supplementation include probiotics, prebiotics, and phytobiotics.
Interesting. And can you give me an example of what each is and a couple of examples of each type?
So probiotics seems to be the word of the day. You know, when I talk to people, they'll share with me, oh, they're taking a probiotic. So first of all, probiotics in our food are things that are fermented. So something like yogurt, which has a good probiotic bacterial strains in it, fermented foods like sauerkraut or miso or tempeh, kefir, things like that are good probiotic sources. Probiotic means promoting health. So these things help to increase the colonies of good bacteria in our gut.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
And what about a prebiotic?
So a prebiotic is the food that the probiotic needs to thrive. Again, a probiotic is a living organism. It's a healthy bacteria are thriving on probiotics. So we want to give those probiotics food so they will grow. Good examples of good prebiotics are things like chicory and leafy greens, things like that, fiber-rich foods.
Interesting. And what about phytobiotics?
So phytobiotics, it's really a new concept to the human food area. So a phytobiotic is actually a flavonoid that helps to protect the ecology that you are growing in your gut. And a cool word for that many people are hearing now is called the microbiome. We are creating a healthy microbiome. So the flavonoids help to protect those colonies, promoting good bacteria and keeping the bad bacteria at bay. And some foods that are great for that are apples and grapes and dark chocolate, things like that.
Dark chocolate, that's phenomenal.
Well, yes, there's your permission to eat it.
I worked with William Crook, who wrote The Yeast Connection, and working with Candida, which is an overgrowth of yeast.
Yeah.
And 20 years ago, it was just basis of, for a healthy gut, avoid refined sugar and junk food.
Which is still good advice.
Yeah, but this goes above and beyond, and what you do goes above and beyond in your expertise as a gut
Mind-gut
wellness advocate.
So what's really interesting and something many people don't know is that the gut contains over 100 trillion bacteria. That's more bacteria than all the stars in our galaxy. And really, when you think about it, we are more bacterial cells than human cells. So we really need to focus on the bacteria, and where most of those live is in our gut. And the other interesting fact is that 80% or up to 80% of our immune system is located in the lining of our gut. So not only does a healthy gut directly affect our mind, but a healthy gut affects our physical health, our body, ailments that we're dealing with. And I want to also emphasize that the mind-gut connection is something that we all intuitively know is true. So if you're stressed about something or anxious about something, you usually feel it in your gut, right? You have some sort of reaction, whatever that is.
Sure.
And we also make decisions based on a gut feeling. So the mind-gut connection is a two-way street.
Right. I've heard some of my patients say that when they eat too many carbs, refined carbohydrates, like a heavy pasta meal, the mind immediately gets somewhat of like a brain fog or fuzziness or just very, very fatigued.
Yeah.
So it just simply, it can do that. As Hippocrates says, everything begins in the gut.
That's right. All disease begins in the gut. He knew that was the cradle of our health. And so now modern science has, yes, they have said that is absolutely true.
Do you have a favorite book?
Well,
in your dedication to the mind-gut connection?
My current read is The Mind-Gut Connection by Dr. Emmerin Mayer. He is actually a new neurologist and a gastroenterologist. So he is an expert in the mind-gut connection. And that's what I'm reading now. And
that's what you're reading now. And the book goes into specifically the mind-gut connection and what type is good bacteria and bad bacteria.
It is. There's a lot of great stories. I should say I'm rereading it now because it's a very cerebral book. What it talks about is actual case studies of people and how this concept of mind-gut connection is demonstrated, and some really interesting anecdotes and scientific proof for this.
Yes, I know personally, I had a patient who had problems mentally and was in depression.
Yeah.
And with your own expertise and your mind-gut connection and all that you know, Melanie, I found that there was less depression, there was more energy, he sustained his energy, and he just felt so much better that you as a person improved the quality of a person's life each and every day.
Yeah, it
and
is
that's
so
why
wonderful.
I wanted you to be on the show, because if just one person listens of how vital it is to keep our gut in check, they might feel better and improve their quality of life.
And there'll be a ripple effect helping other people, because we always share the things that we love with those that we care about.
Right. And you have most definitely have a passion for this. Do you have a favorite form of relaxation?
I do. Well, I do love to exercise, cardio and strength training. I'm a little bit more focused on cardio right now because of an injury I'm nursing. But
Oh,
yeah,
I'm sorry.
that's okay. That's okay. It's all good. So I'm doing cardio, a lot of cardio now.
Okay. And do you have a favorite quote?
So one of the quotes that sustains me through my life is, whatever you focus on expands. So we as human beings have great things happening to us every day. We also have challenging things happening to us every day. When we choose to focus on the things that are good, or that we're grateful for, that we're blessed, our whole mindset changes. And that's part of health. Our mindfulness is part of our health. It's a multifactorial approach when we look at health.
I agree with you. Mindfulness and gratitude.
Yeah.
And all that you do, having 3 kids, looking phenomenal,
Well, thank
working out,
you.
and being this wonderful advocate of the mind-gut connection, you really improve a lot of people every day.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome. And I have to thank you so very much for being a guest on my show today. You have
my
helped.
pleasure.
You help so many people each and every day.
Thank
I can't
you.
thank you enough.
Linda,
I really
it's my
can't.
pleasure, really.
Yeah, absolutely. Keep doing what you're doing. You're doing wonderful things.
Yep. I just want to encourage everyone to remember their mind is their second brain. And so what we do to our gut affects our first brain.
I have to try definitely to remember that. Remember that when we select healthy food, become physically active, and make health our first priority, we begin to feel great, and it's something we want to continue for the rest of our life. And now consider the mind-gut connection. Everything begins in the gut. Remember, moderation and balance is key. Thank you very much. Have a nice evening.